I'm on a journey to get better, and I want to do it with you. And I'm not just focusing on physical health. I'm focusing on everything: emotional wellness, spirituality, finances, relationships, and so much more. Every week, it will be my personal goal to bring us, the world's leading healers, experts, and game changers, to share groundbreaking secrets and tips to getting better in all areas of life. Getting better isn't easy, but it's a whole lot easier when we can do it together. Welcome to Better Together with me, Maria Menounos. Welcome back to Better Together. We're in a whole new studio today. If you're listening, you can't see it, but if you're watching, you can. Because we're now putting all these up on YouTube. I'm in studio with Stephanie Sabra, a.k.a. Scam Sabra.
Scam Sabra. Pure scams.
We're coming to you from our AfterBuzz studios in North Hollywood today as Kevin is renovating my home studio. He has a whole new vision for Better Together's studio, so he's hard at work in there.
We'll have to post before and afters.
Yeah. Well, he's building these like lattice, like vertical garden kind of thingies, but it's just the lattice. So I don't know if you're really like into decorating stuff.
I love decorating.
I had a feeling my creative friend over here would be interested, so I pulled some pictures from Pinterest.
Oh, yay!
And maybe we'll go to like Michael's or something and decorate them together, because we're better together.
Exactly, Maria.
So I think it'll be really fun. Our quote of the day: you must first be who you really are, then do what you need to do in order to do balls. I screwed that up, people. Here's the quote. Haha, just making sure you're alive and awake. Quote of the day: you must first be who you really are, then do what you need to do in order to have what you want. And that is from Margaret Young. As we said, welcome back. Today, we have an amazing guest. She was on an early episode of Conversations with Maria Menounos and my SiriusXM show at the time. Deirdre Hade. She is a modern-day mystic, a visionary leader. We've had her on the show. She was the one who taught me that I'm not crazy, I'm wise. And that you, Steph, a.k.a. Scam, are not crazy, you are wise.
I thought you were going to be like, and you are actually crazy.
No, we're all crazy. We know this. And
it's true.
I certainly am the craziest, probably. But she had taught me that, and I've held on to that, and I've shared that with people. Before we get into the interview, which was a really great discussion, we have to talk about the earthquakes. So
what the heck?
Yeah, for anybody who's listening who doesn't live in Los Angeles or in the region of this earthquake situation the last couple of days, my best friends flew in. So my best friend Alyssa flew in from Boston. Kevin's best friend flew in from Vegas. And we spent the 4th of July together. And then I think it was the next day. Was it on the 5th, the first one?
It was on the 4th.
Oh, it was on the 4th.
It was the morning of the 4th. And then we also had one the night of the 5th.
Okay. So we're sitting outside on my front steps, and all of a sudden, I feel like the boat is rocking, and I think it's my brain tumor.
Oh, no.
I literally thought something horrible was happening in my body.
Oh, God.
Because I was so dizzy, and it was an extreme dizziness. And I was probably a second from saying, you need to call 911. And I realized it was an earthquake. And I go, wait, we're moving. And she goes, holy shit, yeah. And I go, oh my God, run, which is the wrong thing to do.
You felt it in your, like, you felt dizziness before other people felt that they were moving?
Yeah, nobody knew we were moving. And then, actually, Alyssa didn't even know when I told her, I don't think. I'm trying to remember her reaction at that point. But I was the first to feel them all. So I know I'm super sensitive now. Yeah.
Like, what?
So
post-brain tumor.
Well, yeah. So I thought we were supposed to stand in a doorway. So I get in the doorway and I'm like, Alyssa, get in the doorway. She's like, I'm grabbing Winnie. So she's running around the house chasing Winnie. Horrible thing to do, by the way, in an earthquake. We're supposed to do the complete opposite. And I remember people saying you're supposed to be in a doorway. And that was because apparently after this major earthquake, there was a photo of a doorway that was the only thing that was standing. And so people believe that that's where you're supposed to be.
Wait,
but it
that's
was
not?
No. And so
What?
anyhow, you're supposed to duck and cover. You're really supposed to go under a table. And I realized I have a glass table and I have a small round dining room table where you really can't get under that deep, and then the huge chandelier above it. So that's not the safest place because when you try to crawl out, that's going to suck. And so I realized we don't really have many tables. So you just get to duck and cover, and you're not supposed to chase after your dogs. You're supposed to let them go because they have natural instincts as well. And yeah, so I harnessed all the dogs up and I was like, okay, in case we have to like escape or run or something. And then the next day, we're in the screening room watching a movie and I'm in my recliner and all of a sudden I feel movement and I'm like, holy shit, we're having another earthquake. And they're like, you're nuts. And I'm like, look at the projector, and the projector was shaking. So I go in the kitchen, I'm talking to Violetta, and I was like, Violetta, did you feel that? And she said, no. And I said, we had another earthquake. And she said, well, I was feeling a little dizzy. And then right when she says that, boom, the big one hit. And everything's rattling, and the water's waving out of the pool, and the chandeliers are rocking. And so I feel like I felt a precursor to the big one because they didn't say we had two, right, Stephen? They didn't say that the night of the 5th we had two. We only had one.
I only felt the second big one if there was two.
Yeah, I felt the precursor. I felt like the rumbling that got us to the big one, which is interesting. So
That is. I know that earthquakes work with aftershocks, obviously, but I wonder. I don't know the order of it.
Maybe I'm clairvoyant and I
Yeah.
knew it was coming. I mean, I know I have clairvoyant powers, but I didn't know it was an earthquake
I'm going to have
situation.
to update the intro to the show, Maria. It's going to have to be Maria Menounos with her superpower to detect earthquakes 5 seconds before other people.
Yes, I'm a genius. I can
She
save the
saved
world.
0 lives, but she's waiting for her moment.
Where did that voice come from? Damn, I like that.
It's my 60s radio voice.
I think you're going to get more fan mail, Stephen.
One would be more than what I have now.
So anyhow, glad the earthquakes are behind us because it was getting really scary. And my family back east was texting me like crazy. Like,
I think they're next.
Whoa,
The East
threatening
Coast?
I
stuff.
don't want to say that like a threat, but like different earthquake specialists. I don't know their exact title, but I've looked into it because I got scared. I'm like, it's been a while since a massive one, and they've been saying one of the coastal states, New York or California, is like up for like a really bad one.
Well, the coast
earthquake?
yeah.
The coast of North Carolina has a huge shelf, so it's not necessarily a tectonic plate, but the oceanic shelf on the East Coast could fall, and
Yeah.
it's not going to be an earthquake. It's going to cause a tidal wave, though.
Wow.
And then on the West Coast, we have obviously tectonic plates under California, but then you go up to Yellowstone, where the volcano is still technically active, and that's right on a tectonic plate. So that's the big one that has been due to come for a few thousand years. And when that comes, it's going to straight up completely change the topographical map of the United States.
Cool.
So that's the one that
Hopefully
we're
not
looking
in
forward
our
to.
time.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah, I'm all set
Wow.
with that.
we were at the studio when it happened, Maria. It was Friday night. We just finished everything, and I just sat down with Roxy to go over a few things.
Uh-huh.
And suddenly the entire studio starts shaking, and Roxy's like, "Is this an earthquake?" And everyone started
She's like, I'm going to die with you.
everyone started freaking out a bit. It was pretty intense.
Yeah,
We were
it
in the white room.
was.
The boom mic was like up and down. I held the column because like the column was going to fall over in the white room. It was an experience.
Yes, please save the columns, save the monitors.
I have to save the equipment.
Save the equipment first.
First and foremost. All that matters.
Steph, was that your first earthquake?
Yeah, that I actually felt. No, we've had a few, but they were so small. This one was the first that I was like, I feel kind of nauseous.
Yeah.
I just like a
weird.
water bed. It's like you're laying in bed, your bed turns into a water bed. You're like, hell yeah, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, I was like,
that's my earthquake.
I was like,
experience.
where's my earthquake prepared kit? And Kevin goes, I gave it to everybody at AfterBuzz. So you have one at the house, by the way.
Do we?
Yeah, it's a big bucket from like Home Depot, and it's got all kinds of supplies in there and
Yeah,
stuff.
probably threw that out.
Yeah, probably outdated by now. So anyhow, that was our earthquake situation. Not as fun as my restful experience by the pool with my friends. But
And your margaritas.
well, yeah, because the next day I was like, we're in the pool. If something happens, am I going to get sunken into the earth with the pool? Like, that would suck.
That would really suck.
Right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. People didn't think so in other situations, and
Oh my
horrible
God.
things happen at horrible, inconvenient moments.
Wow.
So it makes you wonder, like, should I not be in the pool today? So I did consider, but it was too nice.
Yeah, and I feel like
I spent a lot of money
with your
heating it.
clairvoyancy, you could jump out before it actually hit.
Leave everyone else.
But nobody would believe me, so they would die, and it would be terrible.
I mean, most people have to pay for a wave pool, Maria. Like, you get one for free.
Guys, it was loud, the splashing in the pool. It was crazy. Anyhow, I also had a situation, I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram, but last night we were, well, later in the day yesterday, Winnie was outside, my little poodle, and all of a sudden her leg coils up. And Kevin scoops her. I literally just froze. And I'm like, help her, help her, help her. Because I just freaked out.
No.
And he picks her up and he thought maybe it was her back because she has back issues.
Yeah.
And we both realized, no, it's something with her paw. So we put her on the couch and she's licking her paw. And I'm seeing where she's licking, like in between one toe specifically. So I'm like, okay, hold her up. I want to try to see if something's in there. Maybe I can see. And he's like, I think she got stung by a bee. So I went out and I inspected the grounds. I found a dead bee. Now, there have been a lot of dead bees around, so I wasn't sure. But anyway, I'm using my iPhone. I'm trying to like look in her paw. And then I start doing research and it says, if your dog gets stung by a bee, don't pull with a tweezer. And they're like, you're supposed to scrape it with a knife. I'm like, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyhow, I realized I can't do this because I can't hold my iPhone, the light, and spread her paws open and pull out whatever could be there if there's something there. So we go upstairs because Kevin has all these doohickeys I make fun of him for. So he has one of those flashlights you put on your forehead, and it's got that like elastic band around it, like a headband. So I put that on, and then I see he has a huge magnifying glass by his bed. So I grab the magnifying glass. He's holding her up. And guess what? I start seeing something inside of her paw, and I'm trying to pull it out with my finger. And he's like, go get the tweezers. I get the tweezers. And it was the friggin' stinger. It was the goo from the bee's ass and the stinger.
Ugh.
And I pulled it out of my baby's paw. And she knew I was getting it. She was like screaming, but then trying not to. And she was like, I know, I could tell. She was like, I know you're helping me. And yeah, we saved Wincenza.
Oh, Winnie.
Save little Winnie if you want. Check it out on Instagram. It'll be up for a little longer.
Wow, I more so want to check out the outfit that you ended up having.
Yeah.
with
Oh,
the
it was
magnifying
classic.
glass.
It's classic. It's classic. So yeah, it was pretty fun, and I hope you guys had a good 4th. Did you guys do anything fun?
Yeah, I was with the fam. My dad, his office is like the best location ever. It's looking over the San Diego Bay, and so you could see basically every single area that has fireworks.
No way.
from
So you had
one
multiple
location.
shows?
Yeah, like 6.
Wait, so is anybody in the office? He just goes there.
We go and he invites people.
That's
but
so
like all
cool.
the other judges who are there are invited, so no one's like not invited.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, Steph.
I didn't think you'd want to go to San Diego.
I do. I want to see
If
the
you came,
fireworks.
they'd be like, "What? What do we owe the pleasure, Maria?"
I want to see the fireworks from all angles.
Okay, maybe next year.
Okay, maybe. Maybe if I'm good. Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. Steven, what'd you do?
I threw a party that people showed up to finally.
Oh, well, okay. Do you normally throw parties people don't go to?
I go all out for my parties. I'll spend like $300, $400 on food and all sorts of stuff to make sure that everyone's good. And then like maybe 6 people will show up because everyone's like, it's LA. Everyone has plans, so I can't expect them. This year, I was like, all right, I'm going to buy like 24 burgers, 24 hot dogs. I went out and bought an above ground pool.
Oh, I saw the picture of this.
Yeah,
that
and then I
was
also-
a boss picture.
I bought a fold up gazebo, like a 10 foot by 10 foot gazebo. Bought a grill, and we had tables and everything out there. So we had like
Steven spent his life savings on the 4th of July.
Actually, I think the budget, I think all in all, I spent $350 on the entire party.
That's not bad.
We finished the party with probably 25 bags of chips because every single person brought chips.
Yeah.
We
I
had 6
appreciate
types of
that.
sour cream and onion chips. We had 3 barbecue. It was ridiculous.
Goals.
Oh my God.
We had to throw them all out because otherwise we'd eat them all.
Oh
Wait,
man.
bring them to the studio.
Yeah, why don't you bring them here, silly?
Well, because all of
We
them
can
are
do
like open.
ASMR. Me and Maria.
Nobody cares. We're scum. Speaking of chips, I ate a bunch. Oh, we had 3 bags of Tostitos, and I refused to eat from the 3rd bag. So I didn't actually have from the 3rd bag, but then Kevin brought Fritos and barbecue potato chips. So I had some of those, but I made amazing burgers. Steven, do you want to know the secret to burgers?
Don't buy the bagged ones that I bought because they fall apart.
Oh, well, okay. Yes, you want quality meat, of course, if you can. But the biggest secret that Wolfgang Puck taught me that I also Instagram this weekend is to heavily salt and pepper them. Like use the rock salt and fresh ground pepper. So I freshly ground pepper on the burgers and then kind of just pat it in.
Makes so much sense when I saw that.
And only flip them once. So wait for the top of the burger to get all bloody, juicy, whatever,
Really?
and then you flip it. You cannot flip them multiple times because that's how it gets dried out.
Yeah, they lose all their juice.
Wow.
See, Steph, I don't just teach you about like enlightenment and things. I teach you about
No.
burgers too.
This is the best job ever.
You learn so much. One last tip for you guys, actually. So I was trying to remember this for the podcast this week. So maybe 2 weeks ago, our power went out and we have a clock above our TV in our bedroom, and it's a big clock. And you know, you're sleeping and you roll over and you look at the clock and be like, oh, okay, cool, it's 2. I have 4 more hours or 5 more hours, whatever. But then if it's 5 and you're like, shit, I gotta get up soon. Those were the conversations I had nightly. Okay. Clock actually fell behind the TV. And I realized, that's interesting. So we didn't touch it, and we slept amazing without it. So then I realized we're not putting the clock back up. Haven't put the clock back up and really have had amazing sleep since.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a
was
game
like
changer.
A little demon in your room.
Yeah, a little demon in my room. That's a great way to explain it. So little tip for everybody, get rid of your clocks in your room because, at least for me, if it doesn't do this for you, at least for me, it created too many conversations, perhaps some anxiety at times.
And that you knew that it was there subconsciously, like always. The first thing you did was look at your clock, which also is a side note. Don't look at your phone at night.
Yeah.
I've started, I think you're the one who told me this. I put it like
Far away and on
far
airplane
away.
mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the alarm will still go off. Everyone's scared of that. The alarm will still go off. You just
exactly.
won't get cellular data.
Yeah. And it's so good for you. Like I realize now, instead of looking at the clock, having thoughts that now keep me awake, if I roll over, I go right back to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's been really
Wow.
good. Yeah. So little tip for everybody. In the meantime, Deirdre Hade has a lot of tips for us on the podcast. So we're going to get into this right away. She is a modern mystic, as we discussed, a modern day mystic, a poet, a visionary leader in the ancient arts of the wisdom traditions. Today, we're talking to her about so many things. We're talking about purpose. We're talking about
Self-love.
energy, self-love, even the
Sports.
relationship, sports, even the relationship between mysticism and quantum physics. It was a really, really cool conversation, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So here we go. So Deirdre, we've had you on the show before, a year ago, almost exactly.
Yes.
And so it was time to bring you back. And I want to first start off for the listeners' benefit. I want them to understand what a mystic is. So you're a mystic.
Yes.
And we've talked about this, but for anybody who didn't catch that early episode of the older version of this podcast, I want them to understand what that is. And then I want us to get into that conversation we were having before the air.
Absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me back. I love your show. What you're doing is really bringing consciousness and spirituality into the world through your beautiful, I want to say neshama, that means soul.
Thank
the
you.
light of who you are. So thank you. And so a mystic is a person who has an ability to travel through interdimensional space into another states of consciousness, such as heaven, or consciousness such as the psychic world, But a true mystic is clairvoyant. However, the clairvoyance goes beyond just a psychic ability. It goes into having relationships with non-beings that you would call the angels, you would call spirit guides, or the prophets, wise sages that want to give us their knowledge so we can have a better life. And so a mystic really has a duty to share that experience with others, to be a voice for the divine world. And it took me a lifetime to understand and know who I was and what is this gift I have. And through my study, I said, that's it. That's what a mystic does. But it's not a word that's used very much today. It's more of a word that is archaic or ancient. We think of ancient mystics. But I said, well, why not have a mystic today? We're the same people, right? So that's in a nutshell, that's a mystic. That's who I am.
So cool. It still gets me so shocked every time you say it. I wonder, the one part I don't remember before is if you're able to travel interdimensionally, and that includes heaven, what does that look like for you?
Well, it's very awesome.
I can imagine. But I can't imagine at the same time.
It's very, very awesome. It's like a Star Trek movie, and going warp speed, go through that into these worlds of cathedrals, of archways, of columns of light, of great beings, the most beautiful, beautiful beings you could imagine, with hair and clothing, and it's truly extraordinary. And Maria, one of the things I love doing is taking people on these journeys with me, and that's what I do when I do a retreat or a workshop. Everyone comes in. We have music. I always play crystal bowls, and I have incense to just get our mind to settle down from the outside world. And then that's what the radiance journey is I actually open the gates so you can go on a journey, and people go on these journeys and they just go, wow. So that's my greatest joy. That's what I love.
So you're a whole other kind of guide.
Yeah, I'm a whole, exactly.
Like we have tour guides in Rome.
Yes.
You're going to guide us to heaven. So
that's it.
So when you guide people on this heavenly tour,
yes,
are they seeing the same things you're seeing?
Many times they are. And what I tell people is, if you start to have your own journey that is not completely what I'm seeing, go with it, because it's your soul, it's your neshama taking you. We've opened the gates for you now to travel to heaven. And guess what? You get to stay here. You don't have to have that near-death experience. You can stay your body, and you can go there. And I have had hundreds and hundreds of people who have come up and said, I've waited for this my whole life. I cannot believe what just happened.
Yeah.
And I say thank you to the Creator, because it's not me. I'm a doorway.
You're
I'm the
another
doorway.
archway. It's so crazy because just as you say it, I get emotional. Like my nose tingles just thinking about people getting to do that.
Thank you. And that's what a beautiful soul you have, because your soul, through your life experience, everything you've been through, you have come so close to touching heaven. But we need you here. So it's not time for you to go to heaven. But your soul, you see, the soul, Maria, has a longing for heaven, a longing to go home. The soul knows this. I'm in exile in this world. This world is not comfortable for me. I don't understand it. I don't know how it works. The ego gets it, but I don't. Me and the ego, we're just like on two ends of a street. So this soul is asking for these experiences, and that's why I believe I was given this gift to answer the call of you and who is asking for this experience. I'm here to say, come. I want your soul to have this experience of heaven.
So
we can do it.
Amazing. I wonder, how do you know that what you're seeing isn't something you're making up in your head? For example, when I'm on a table and I'm getting energy work done and I just start floating into crazy times and spaces and I see different things and I'm like, okay, am I making this stuff up in my head? Or where is this coming from? And so for somebody who's never even done that, it's a big leap for them to believe that they can go on a journey to heaven right now.
Correct.
So just thinking from the skeptic's point of view, how do they know what they're seeing isn't something they're making up?
Excellent question, and I'm really delighted to answer. So, to quote Marion Woodman, who is one of the great Jungian psychologists and leader in feminine consciousness, metaphor is the language of the soul, and this is why the great spiritual texts and the poets, they speak of their experiences in metaphor, and you have to have a key to unlock the metaphor to know the meaning. So when you are on the table, or anyone, say, getting acupuncture or a massage, and your mind just starts to drift.
It happens when I have acupuncture too.
Yes, exactly. So when your mind softens and the ego gets to go by, sit somewhere else, because you're finally tending to the temple of the body, and the body, by the way, is divine. Let's be clear about this. The body is divine. And when you're taking care of your divine self, because you're taking care of your body, the metaphor of the mind, of the consciousness of your soul begins to come up. And it will come up kind of heckly-peckly, like it doesn't make sense, like this image may come or that image may come. Now, when I'm doing a healing session, let's say I was working with you, I would say, okay, tell me what you see. And then I would start to ask questions of your soul. What do you feel with this image? What does it bring back to you? How does you feel in your body now? And we start to go on a journey to release whatever kind of trauma, pain, or toxin is in the body so that it can be healed. Now, when I take a journey, let's say I take you on a journey, we also go through that realm, because we have to start in the metaphor of your mind. But once the gift, what I discovered doing this work, Maria, is once you retether, and Marion Woodman talks about this, to your soul, once you allow traumas that block you from your experience with heaven to be released, it's easy for me to say, now we're going to go into a temple of an amethyst cave where the purple amethyst light will infuse every cell of your body with healing. And you will be able to go there because the blocks have been cleared.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. And when you're on a table with massage or acupuncture, you are going on a journey. Your soul is taking you on a journey, but you may not understand the metaphor. So is it imagination? Yes, because imagination and metaphor work like this. And because we are all pure energy, we are pure thought, our brain, our mind only processes through metaphor and through a visual or a sensory picture. So your consciousness will grab, this when you were this age, or that face, or it'll just grab things to give you messages. The next step of a journey of what my gift is to take you on is then I take your soul and lovingly say, okay, great, you're open. Now I'm going to take you down this corridor and help you find your heaven within. That's why I'm here.
Wow. Huh. So what if you see something dark? Like I remember being on a table. First of all, the one time I was on a table during acupuncture, and I think it was the Virgin Mary that came to me, and I saw like all this beautiful bright light. I was going into like this other place. Maybe it was heaven. I don't know. It was amazing. But when I was getting energy work done, I kept seeing like a dragon. What if you see a dragon? Does that mean something bad?
No, that doesn't mean anything bad. And many times when we go on journeys into our inner consciousness, pain or trauma will be seen as a negativity or a demon. And I really, really want to share with you and all your people not to be afraid of that, because that is your consciousness trying to tell you this is an area where you have had some trauma or you are constricted. And it's an area where if you just look at it, it will open and you'll see inside of it an angel of light. There's a piece of you, I call that a key of yours that you've lost or was stolen from you or you gave away by mistake. There's keys in our darkness. So it's okay to face that. It's a message because there's a key in there for you to become an empowered human being.
Mm-hmm. So do you also do like psychic readings for people?
Well, I can do psychic readings. I don't say I'm psychic because I really work on focusing on people, on your angelic guides and your divinity, your path of divinity or towards divinity, or that's where I operate. But I am very uber clairvoyant.
Wow.
Yes.
It's funny. I was driving this morning and I was thinking, I wonder if there's a way for us to know who our angels are and be able to talk to them directly.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you find that out?
Well, we could do that right now.
No way.
Do you
Really?
want to know who your angels are?
Of course I want to know. I was asking this morning. I'm like, I wonder who they are and I want to be able to talk to them. What if it's my grandmother? What if it's my cousin? Who knows? What if it's my dog? Could it be your dog?
Oh, absolutely.
No way.
And you know, my dog, whom I love, was my champion. He just died in the spring unexpectedly.
Oh.
And oh my gosh, I have to tell you, see, I'm still not over this.
Yeah, it's pain.
It's so deep, the pain, the loss, and the grief. And after the night he died, I just have to tell you this little story.
Yeah.
It's about the angels. I wrote a whole piece on my blog about, dogs being our angels and animals being our angels and how to know that within them. So after my Yelid passed away, I was so exhausted, and my housekeeper was with me, Patricia, and she said, you should go to sleep. You should go to sleep, and I'll stay with him till the morning when we can bury him. So I went and laid down, and early in the morning I felt a hand on my shoulder, like a big hand. And I woke up and I said, wow, who's in the room with me? Who's got their hand on me? And then I kind of looked up, and there was this giant angel with like shoulders like 3.5 feet wide, and he had on this dark cape and black hair. My dog had black hair and this shining white face, and he smiled, and I'm gonna get really choked up. And he put his other hand on me. He said, I want you to know how much I love you, and that it was an honor to serve you, and that we, from the realm of the dog kingdom, we're here to serve humanity, and we're here to love you and help your world be better. And I want you to know it was an honor to be your angel, and I'm always your angel, and I'll never leave, but I wanted you to see who I really was, because he was huge.
And was this a big dog or a little dog?
Little dog.
Wow.
He was a little dog.
Wow.
That's what I said. I went, wow. I mean, I who have these extraordinary things happen, for me, this was extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I really felt it in the depth of my being, how the animals are really our angels, and especially dogs, if you have a connection to dogs or to cats or pets, that they are so much greater than we think.
Yeah.
And I really, really got that. So now he said, I'm always with you. I'm one of your guardian angels, and I'm your protector. So I will always be with you.
Wow. Wow. I say it all the time. I think that they're sent to us from God for different reasons. And I understand that even more now because, I had my first crop of babies that all just passed in the last few years. And now we have the new 3 little ones, or 2 big, 1 big and 2 little. But each one was sent for a specific reason.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
And I know that Maximus was sent to me for sure, without question. He was sent to protect me and make me feel safe, and he's my everything.
And also, he was sent to heal you. He was sent to bring you light for your body to stay healthy. I also see that.
Totally. Oh my God, he makes me laugh.
Yeah.
He makes me so happy all day long. Like literally brings me so much joy. Okay, so how do we find out?
Okay, so I'm just going to look. So this is when I do a reading. This is what I do. I'll look at your soul and see who, open the gates, open the doors, see who we see there with all of the beautiful signs here in your studio, Better Together. I love it. And what I see is, first and foremost, you have a light coming in through your crown chakra that is a beautiful pink and like a sky blue, turquoise kind of blue color gemstone. And this is the light of the Archangel Ariel. And the Archangel Ariel is the archangel who is the keeper of balance and beauty. So beauty is balance and harmony. And she is your oversoul. So she is the archangel that is the oversoul. She travels with you from when your soul was created forever. And she is your oversoul. She is the guiding light which you are here to merge with into this very high stellar frequency. So from her, if you see her there, she's right above you, always shining down within you. You also have a realm of angels. And oh, by the way, she asks for you to talk to her whenever you want. Just call her Ariel.
Okay. Does this have anything to do with that I look like the Little Mermaid now with my red hair?
No, it doesn't. But it's so funny because when I just said that, I went, oh my God, this sounds like the Little Mermaid. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because people will joke and they're like, you look like the Little Mermaid now. And I've said many times that I feel more me with this red hair than I have with anything else.
Because it matches your soul, your neshama. And it obviously
kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They love to play with us like that and show us little tie-ins. The angels, they all have great great sense of humor. So that is Ariel, and she said, please talk to her.
Okay.
Please talk to her regularly.
Yeah, Ariel, I need more balance.
Yeah,
How do I know? How do I know when the right balance is here?
There you go. That's
actually the thing.
perfect.
I don't know if. That's the part in my life where I'm at now. Is I don't know what the real balance is for me. Right? How do I temper or not temper goals and dreams at the expense of health? Right? So I learned all my health lessons, and I'm like, I never want to do that again.
Right.
But then at the same time, I still want to do things, and I still dream, and I still am excited to live. And so that's kind of my big question is balance, ironically.
Well, that's obviously why she came forward is the most pronounced angel right now, because she really wants to help you with that and teach you how to be a truly empowered person, truly empowered woman, because you are divinely connected with her and with the greater creation. And part of that is understanding balance. And the way I find that for balance is really by going within in my contemplation practice and, asking for guidance to show me. And then really checking in with my gut. I found that the body really doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like my head will talk me into things without it, just left, right, and center.
Yeah.
But when I go down into my belly, okay, how do I feel about this? That is a really, really good barometer to know how to stay in balance.
Yeah. Well, I've been practicing that so much lately where even when I'm sitting with somebody to interview them for a position or whatever, I'm like, how does my body feel? And if I'm anxious or if something doesn't feel right, then I have to listen.
Yes.
Because there's a reason.
Yes.
And when my shoulders are calm and I feel good, then I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Exactly. So just keep going and you can speak to her. Now, I also see with you, you have a large family. A great deal of family members that are around you all the time and really love you that are on the other side. And it's so interesting because they're all saying in unison, you go. They're just like a cheering squad. They so believe in you. And they believe in your mission and your dreams. And they want you to know that you can do it. You have all the support you need to do it. Whatever it is, I'm telling you, they seem to know what it is.
Okay.
And they're saying, do it.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, guys. I love that. So when you do workshops, are these kinds of things that you'll guide people through so they can know who their peeps are on the other side?
Absolutely. And I work with everyone in the audience, and then I walk around and I answer questions. So it's like a whole gestalt of bringing together and integrating the world around us with our inner world and our ability to access the divine. A lot of meditation is about transcending, but I have learned over doing this a lifetime that's over 50 years, that's all I'm going to say, is that it's not enough to transcend. We're meant to be here. We were sent here for a reason. So it's also about integrating the outer world and our inner world. And the only way we can really do that healthily is by being connected with our divine source. Because at the end of the day, we can talk all we want. And you know this from healing. At the end of the day, it is just a simply miraculous, unexplainable experience that heals us and brings us home. That we just can't even put words on.
I guess I want to go back to the balance thing because, I ask for so many things. I ask for guidance on things. I forgot that I could ask for guidance on that.
Yes.
And if somebody wants guidance on something else, they can ask for it. I talk about it all the time. Ask and you shall receive. But if you put it out there, the answers do come.
Yes, they do.
I don't know why I forgot about that for that one.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's like the ego, our ego is really a slippery little person there. And sometimes what's right in front of us, the ego is like, I'm just going to kind of cover that up for a while. So it's kind of like
we
a
think
game.
We're supposed to figure it out. Like, that's where I was like, I'm supposed to figure this out. Like, it's cerebral. It's not.
Oh, you don't have to figure it out. I used to think I was supposed to figure it out too. And I just figured myself into a complete corkscrew mess. That's where that got me. So when I started asking and surrendering and asking and surrendering and then thinking, watching my thoughts, thinking, then answers just came, answers that I would never have thought of. And that's wisdom. That's wisdom. And we all have wisdom within us. Sophia means wisdom. You have wisdom. And the wisdom's in your soul, your consciousness, is in your angels, in the Creator. And when we go there, life becomes well, it rocks. It becomes really magical.
How do you guide people through that process? Because the outside world is so loud.
Yes.
And it's kind of one dimensional.
Yes.
And people's thinking is one dimensional,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's all about the now. It's all about how this is going to affect me.
Yes.
And how do you guide people to be able to go within for the answers and not go without?
Well, we begin first by creating the safe space. So whether it's a personal session or whether it's the room with the workshop or the retreat, I create a safe space. I always make it very evident that when you come in this room, it's quiet, it's safe, the lights are down, we have candles, we do everything to just so your whole being goes, oh yes, that's right. And the other thing is, when the magical state within us is really our child. And our child is alive every day with us. We just forget about that. And so the child is who gets the most afraid and the most confused with life. So when I create a space and you walk in, I know your child's coming in. And when I do that, your child goes, oh, I really like this.
Mm-mm.
Oh, right, this is reading time. Oh, right, this is the child comes out. Remember that, the line of be as children. So then you're already halfway there. And then we talk, tell jokes, we laugh. How are you doing? And I always have to start with a stand-up routine because that's always the most fun. And then we go into watching our breath. And then we just begin the journey. It's a guided, it's I don't want to say it's hypnosis, but it's calming and soothing. And it's that place that you know of when you go, like you said, with acupuncture or massage, you just start to relax.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then we just go deeper. And people have amazing life-altering experiences. Afterwards, we'll talk about it. I may take someone a little farther. I'm really about the group, the collective, that we're all healing together. One of the beautiful things about coming together in a group, the reason I love to do retreats, is because we create what's called Or HaMet. And Or HaMet in Hebrew means the overlying light. So as humans, we have an ability to actually create angels. We have an ability to create a human light. And the human light, the Or HaMet, is an angelic presence, and that presence of that group lives forever here on the planet. And you can begin to feel that presence, and that's really fun.
Wow. I want to go to a retreat.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. I don't have one planned right now, but I think it's time.
Yeah.
I love that.
Let's see here. Purpose. I think this is a good topic to get into. So purpose is something we're all searching for. I wonder what is kind of the relationship between mysticism and physics, and then how is that related to purpose?
Excellent. Well, I brought my husband's book. My husband, Will Arndt's, made a movie called What the Bleep Do You Know? Mm-hmm. So I brought his book. And that is all about physics and spirituality. We also...
Which is why you're the perfect combo.
Right. And we also last year had a whole series we did that's on my YouTube channel called The Mystic and the Physicist.
I love it, by the way.
Thank
so
you.
Fun.
We're going to do some more this fall. And so the thing about physics is, let's go to Einstein. He's like the father of modern physics. Of course, the physicists out there, you're probably going to slap my hand. But for the rest of us, we all know who Einstein is. And he said when he was 10 years old, he had a question. If I rode my bike the speed of light, would my flashlight on my bicycle automatically turn on? And this is what he studied his whole life, and it became the theory of relativity. So where mysticism and physics meet, or really that the mystic and the physicist or scientist, true scientist, ask questions. Why? Why this? Why that?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why this? Why that? And going on that path, what we have found today is that the mystics and the physicists have met. They've met, and where they've met is in the great unknown. Meaning that the question right now, today, with quantum physics, is where does consciousness live? Fred Alan Wolf talks a lot about this. Meaning you can't find a location. So I'm the mystic, and I say, well, you physicist. It's obvious where consciousness lives. It lives in a place of no place, because only in the third dimension do we have a place. But once you get out of the third dimension and you go into the other dimensions, place doesn't exist.
What are the different dimensions?
Well, there's many different dimensions. I would have to say that it's a quantum field of dimensions, so I couldn't tell you how many, but I'm very aware of hundreds.
But like here, we're in one.
We're in one.
And you were talking about the third. What's the second?
Well, the second, it's interesting because the second dimension would be like here, this piece of paper.
Okay.
That's like, it's not
matter.
Space here. It's like a piece of paper, and you've got one side and you've got the other side. That's the best way I can explain it, where you'll have a concept. The third dimension is the dimension of time and space. And then the fourth dimension is a dimension of the being able to be in the subtle frequencies of like psychic ability or intuition. Like when you're in intuition, you're in the fourth dimension. And we all have the ability to be intuitive. It's a part of it. It's a gift. And when you're in intuition, you're in the fourth dimension. And then when you move into being able to have communication, let's say with angelic realms, you move into the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th dimensions. So someone like Jesus or Yeshua, he was able to access the 12th dimension and beyond. That's very rare to be able to go there.
Mm-hmm.
But all of us, we were all created to be able to be in the third dimension, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, even the seventh. And that is about opening up the subtle, or I'd like to say our subtle bodies, our subtle awarenesses. And the more they open, it's like you had that vision of Mary. You went into the seventh dimension at that minute, at that second. It just went popped open. You got to see it. We can't always hold it long, but the more you practice, the more you can hold those gates open. And that's what I did. I just practiced for over 30 years. Again, I'm not going to give away my age, but I just practiced. I was like, oh wow, I just saw a flash of, well, what if I tried to stay there longer?
Yeah. Or like when you're in a dream and you want to go back into the dream. It's kind of like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, so physics, I thought, would help explain mysticism a little.
Well, it does and then it doesn't, because again, at the end of the day, the physicists are all scratching their heads and they go, well, we don't know what we don't know. But one thing in physics they know today, that little tiny particles called quarks can disappear and then reappear in other places, and they don't know how that happens. Like, how does that happen? They don't know.
But that's because time isn't linear, so it could be jumping time zones.
So it's going through something, but they don't know what that thing is.
That vortex of sorts.
Right. And I am not a physicist, so all you physicists out there, you just bear with me while I do the best I can. But But my husband made a movie about it, and so we have a lot of these conversations. But from the mystical point of view, I can see where the physicists are going, and I feel like I have answers. Like you won't ever find where consciousness exists because it exists in a it exists. The core of it is somewhere other than this reality, but it also includes this reality, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So where does our subconscious is within us.
Right.
And then consciousness is outside of us?
Well, no, consciousness is within us too. We are all it's within and it's without.
Okay, but subconscious is only within us.
Now the subconscious mind is within your consciousness of, let's say, who you are, Maria. You have a subconscious mind that is made up of your experiences growing up. It's made up of also your ancestry, your history of your ancestry. It's also informed by your DNA. It's an entire cacophony of experience put together in your subconscious. And the thing about the subconscious is you're not separate, like, from my subconscious. So we also have a collective subconscious.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we're living in today. We're seeing these collective subconsciousness is kind of materializing different ways or perceptions of seeing reality. So we interact with each other. Our subconscious is always connected. We're connected on these fibers. And I've actually seen these fibers, which was pretty trippy. I thought, okay, I'm either losing my mind. Where's the psychiatric ward? But I've seen these like kind of fibers. And you'll meet somebody where your subconscious may be more connected to theirs. And you can see these connections of light.
Is it because of similar experiences?
Similar experiences, your soul group. If you are from the same soul group, similar experiences, and again, a lot of it actually comes from our DNA.
Wow, I didn't know that. So, in trying to find your purpose,
yes,
how can mysticism help that?
Well, mysticism is really the key if you are not clear about your purpose, because we are each born with a purpose. There's no one person.
A soul purpose.
A soul purpose. And the soul purpose is really the only purpose there is. Now, when I say this, what I mean is...
Wait, are we talking about the soul, our inner soul?
Our inner soul.
Or are we talking about a soul, like one purpose?
No, we're talking...
Because I was like, oh, we have one purpose. And then I was like, oh, wait, this just transformed into soul's purpose. And
like we have a soul on our shoes. So
which soul are we talking about? Yeah.
Well, we're talking about the soul, the light within. So I just wanted to clarify what I meant by that. The soul is here to become actualized, to have a full experience of this reality, and to have all of its light here and a full embodiment. But then the next level of that soul purpose is perhaps your path is to be an actress. Perhaps your purpose is to be a painter or a writer, or a business person, or not a mom, or it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is you feel within, wow, this brings me joy. It's not joyful every day. We all have challenges, but I know I'm on my purpose. And so the reason mysticism is the key, if you don't know if you're on your purpose, is by drilling down into these journeys I talk about, going deep within ourselves, touching our soul, touching these cathedrals of light, which are consciousness, which are wisdom, which are truth and understanding. We receive messages, and the messages are life-altering. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And when that happens, I've just seen people just, wow. Because all of a sudden, all the energy comes up. The depression goes away, the anxiety goes away, or the illness begins to heal. because all those things are just symptoms to tell us you're going down the wrong path here. But we don't know how do I get on the right one?
Yeah.
But
well,
when
and
you-
society tells you you're supposed to be a certain thing, or your family tells you you're supposed to be a certain thing.
That's right. And you may have to go against all of that. Like, I'll take myself as an example. My father had a double PhD in physiology and biochemistry from the University of Chicago. My mother was a physiologist 6 weeks short of her PhD from the University of Chicago. My grandfather was a sociologist. My grandmother had a master's in English literature. And I grew up in academia. So here I am, this kid who's like, Mom, wow, I saw an angel. Well, no, angels don't exist. That's not my mom, my dad. And I go, but I saw it. Well, you're going to be a scientist. So my whole life, I'm going to grow up and be a scientist. I'm going to be and then 17, my mom diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. The light came. She was healed. I'm like, what do I do, God? I can't go into science because they're all telling me I'm crazy and this is wrong. So I can't do that. I really had to go against everything I know.
I have the chills.
I mean, thank you. I had to stand completely alone because this was, I'm kind of giving my age away, which I don't like to do.
It's
but,
okay. You don't
this
look
is
it
like-
anyway. No
this
matter
is-
what it is, you
thank
look
you.
20 years younger than it.
Thank you. So this is like, 40 years ago. And I just kept praying it. I tell you, it made me go deeper and deeper into my faith because I kept saying, God, you would not give me this for for nothing. So I just have to go deeper and put my faith in you and not people, because I felt like a complete alien and a complete outcast,
Of course.
like weirder than weird. And he was like, well, is she losing her mind? Is she meant? And then I went through a period of, wow, am I losing my mind? And then I'd be like, no, actually, I'm really sane. And I would talk to psychiatrists and they'd be like, well, you're like the sanest person I know. So maybe you really are seeing angels. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
You doubt
not
yourself.
easy. You do doubt yourself. But I'm still here, gratefully, and now we're at a different time, and I'm here with you, and it's just so exciting that we have this open conversation now.
Yeah.
That we can go here. It's more acceptable, more and more acceptable.
So if someone's trying to find their purpose and something has been, I imagine you have something screaming at you inside your
Right.
body, right? Is it the child in you that knew what you were supposed to be that you've now been told you're not supposed to be, whether it was your parents? Like, I remember when I was little, I wanted to be a marine biologist. And my mom was like, Maria, you just want to play with the dolphins. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Or I wanted to be a veterinarian because I loved animals. It was all animals. And then it started to shift into what everybody would say
Right.
you're supposed to be, right? Like there was a moment where I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer because that's what would make my parents proud.
Right.
And then I had this fascination with news. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do what Joan London does. I love her. And so it's funny. I wonder, for someone who hasn't found something that lights them up, right? And they're living in this, I would say, a purgatory of sorts.
Yes.
Because if
Many
you're not
people.
living your truth or your purpose, it's not a fun existence. How do they decide whether what they're hearing is the right thing? Because now you're an adult.
Yep.
You have bills. You have responsibilities. And you have a
Family.
lot of people who are going to say you're crazy, which you taught us. And it's my favorite thing I think I've learned on this podcast is you're not crazy, you're wise. And I really have taught so many people that since you've taught me it. How do you listen to it? How do you explore it? And also, like I said before, is it the little kid in us that really knows what we were supposed to do? Because if we're born with a purpose, the little kid in us should know that, right? To a degree, there must be some shape of it that we understand.
Yes, absolutely. So the child in us does know what one's purpose is, what their purpose is. However, it may not be well defined. There are people who've said, well, since I was four, I knew I was going to be a great violinist. And then there's people who are like, well, I knew I was supposed to do something. I didn't know what it was, but I loved to go swim with the dolphins, or I loved animals. And then there's other people who go, well, my whole life I felt I was supposed to do this. And then it turned out, I wasn't supposed to do it because I'm not really very good at it. So there's no one way. And the other thing about purpose is, depending on where we are in life, there is also the balance between what our purposes and can be and our reality of the third dimension. So let's for an example, I'll use myself. I was a dancer. I had this terrible knee injury, which short-circuited my career. Well, today it would not have. I could have had surgery for this. If I were to say, well, gosh, my purpose is I'm going to be on Dance with New York City Ballet now. Well, that's just not going to happen because of time and space and the reality of my age. But what I can do is, I can support someone else to do that. Mm-hmm. I can put energy into dance or ballet. And by the way, I am on the board of the State Street Ballet, so that's exactly what I did. I said, I can put my energy into someone else who that's their dream. And because we're all connected, we're all one, I don't really have to live that purpose. I have just as much joy if you can live it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just support you in living it. So that's one scenario, but there may be another scenario where later you're in your 40s and then you have an aha, wow, I think that I'm not on the path that I'm supposed to be on, and you get more and more and more unsettled, and you listen deeper and deeper and deeper, and you go, wow, I'm supposed to go back to school. I'm supposed to do that. You should do it. You can do it. I mean, you can change your life. You just want to do it with wisdom. I can't tell you how many, especially, this is going to sound awful. Don't get mad. Especially men at middle age will come to me and say, I know I'm supposed to do this different thing. And I would say, okay, that's great. Yes. Let's explore this and keep your job. Mm-hmm. Right? Don't quit.
Yeah.
And usually we got to the other side where they could keep their career, keep their job, and all of a sudden they were happy with it because they learned how to bring their purpose into what they were already doing.
Interesting.
So that's another. So you see, there's different ways.
Funny though that the guys were interested in quitting, because I feel like women would be the quicker ones to quit because we want to follow our passion and our purpose, right?
Right. You would think, but that's just my experience and my spiritual counseling work over the years.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you explore it.
You explore it. That's right.
So maybe as a volunteer, or like you said, sponsoring someone else, and see if it gives you enough joy where you feel like
that's right.
You're
exactly.
good.
Because you can, once we step out of ourself, our kind of egocentric self, one of the greatest joys there is actually finding joy in someone else's what they're excelling at that you couldn't excel at. Like maybe you love soccer, but you can be on a women's soccer team, but you could be just as happy and exuberant at those women out there. You're still living your purpose because you're a part of it, because we're all one. Mm-hmm. We're not separate. We're all one.
Well, maybe that's why I'm so fanatical with sports.
There you have it. That's it.
I do feel like I'm on there when I talk about it. I'm like, we just need one more point or whatever, and they're like, we, and I'm like, yeah, right,
exactly.
I feel like I'm playing the game. You see me sweating? I'm sweating.
There you go. But this is fabulous, Maria, because this is what I'm talking about. Because you are playing the game. Because your energy, feeds them. Meaning, there's
can we talk about this for a second?
Your energy feeds them. They need your energy to win.
Okay. I really believe that energy is so important in these games. So, for example, the Patriots are down 28-3. We got a couple minutes left in the game. It's never been heard of before. And at one point I got sunken in and I was like, oh, wow, I can't believe this happened. And I got really sad. And then I was like, wait, no, we have to change the energy. We have to change the juju. So I start texting all of my friends throughout the arena. I'm like, we have to change the energy. They need us. They need us. And
I have chills when you said that. I just got huge chills.
Yeah, I started putting out like, believe, we got to believe, we got to believe, because believe was this big mantra for the team at the time. I'm like, if we're not going to believe now, when are we going to believe?
That's it.
And I started literally honing in on Tom Brady. This is so crazy. I love we're talking about this right now. I would hone in on Tom Brady, our quarterback, and I would talk to him. And I would literally envision like a line between us. And I'm way up in the stands. And I was like, Tom, we're going to take this step by step. Baby steps. You're going to get the snap. You're going to connect to a passer, to Edelman or somebody on the team. And we're going to go baby step by baby step. You got this. You're the greatest of all time. You can do this. And I literally did that. So we start winning, right? And I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. My husband's like, no, don't move. Keep doing what you're doing. And so there will be people who will say that I'm crazy.
Right. You're not crazy, you're wise.
But I'm wise. I really believe that I can tap in. I know I can.
You totally can.
And so whether it's, basketball or football, the Celtics would ask me to come to the playoff games in 2008 because I was like the sixth man on the court for them. They were like, you've got to be here. You have to be here, because I would scream and I would give all the energy out. And it's funny. I had a conversation with Sugar Ray Leonard. Do you know Sugar Ray Leonard?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Had a conversation with him at a party, I think it was like a week ago. And I said, I have to ask you a question. I really feel like energy plays such a big part in what you do. And it's not just what you do. It's what any superior kind of athlete or performer does. Because if you, like Larry Bird, I said to him, I watch Larry Bird's highlight clips because my husband's a big fan and he's made me a big fan over the years. And I'll watch what he does on the court. And he's not the most skilled player in the world, technically. I mean, he's, almost like whatever, won't get too deep. But he'll do things on the court and I watch it and I'm like, he didn't know that player was there. He felt it. It was energy.
Right. That's right.
And I said, I feel like the same thing has applied with you in your career where you feel the punch before it's coming. Like, to shift because the energy is there. You're so connected to the game. Like, this is what I was saying to them. They're so connected to the floor. They're connected to the players. They're connected to the energy that they just know, and things just happen. And that's why they're amazing, is because they're so connected. And he's like, how the hell do you know this? Wow. And I'm like, because I see it. It's so clear to me when I watch Larry or I'll watch a Sugar Ray, or even in my experience when I was doing Dancing with the Stars, when I was connected, I remember looking at Kevin up in the stands and I said, I got this. And he was so scared. And I was so connected to this dance and this whole thing that I killed it. And I felt like there was nothing that could get in my way. 100% I was going to crush it. And so whenever I'm in a situation, I could be playing football. If I'm super connected, all of a sudden I look like a football god. Like I do things that I don't even know I can do.
That's fabulous.
Because I'm connected.
Absolutely. And that right now, that is mystical. Let me be real clear. That's everyday mysticism. You are a mystic. It's not just, you go in a cave. It's on the football field. It's on the basketball court. It's in a hospital. It's on the street. It's everywhere. When you are connected to something unexplainable and you are aware of energy, that is the mystical world. That is it. You're there. And it can change reality. And it does. I'm totally there with you. I know what you can do. And we all do it. We all do it with each other, but we do it unconsciously. So imagine if we could do this consciously.
Yeah.
What we could create here on Earth.
Well, think like the start is knowing, right? And thinking in your life, where have I felt super connected, where I did stuff that I didn't even know I could do, that I was so amazing, right? Like, I can dance and I can not dance. I can be terrible, like horrible, have no rhythm in a moment, and then be completely awesome over here.
Right.
And it's all a matter of connection. If I'm connected, or if I'm at a photo shoot and I'm not connected, I have to think of the poses. I have to think of what I'm doing. When I'm connected, I'm flowing and I'm crushing it. So it's how do we figure out how to get into that space? And part of that is having good energy around you, right? That's what I've learned is if I have good people and good energy around me, I can get in my zone, which is what I think people call it, is getting in your zone.
That's right. That's
Right?
it. It's getting in the zone, and it has to do exactly with what you said. To get in the zone, you need to have the right environment. You need to have people around you, and you also need to have an inner practice of how you get in the zone. Everyone's different. When I was a dancer, the same thing. There were times when I did things that people said, you shouldn't be able to do that. Like one of the things I could do was jump in the air and then stay up there, like just kind of pause up in the air. And no one was like, how do you do that? And I said, well, it's really easy. There's a line up here at about this many feet, and I jump on top of it, and then I sit on it.
Oh, my Lord. But you thought that.
I thought that. It was energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Well, that's the power of your mind. That's how powerful our mind is. And that's how powerful thoughts are.
Yeah. We talk about that on the show a lot.
Very powerful. And that is also why great athletes, great dancers, people who excel train their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Those basketball players have phenomenal minds. Their mind is trained how to think. And thinking, when it's really trained, it goes into a beyond the normal range of thinking, because it's a deeper thinking that's more you can't put words to it. It's like when you're dancing or when you are on a photo shoot where you're just in the zone. You're not thinking.
No.
But it's another kind of thought operating. And that's your genius thought. That's where you're in your genius. And we all have genius within it. One of my dear good friends, Adam Hall, has a new offering called the Genius Codes. I just love what he does because he really narrowed in. He's amazing. Narrowed in on our genius, but that's what that is. When we are in that zone, we're in our genius, and our genius is our purpose right there. That's it. Whatever you're doing, that's what it is.
Wow. Now, if we could just teach us all how to access it more often.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. That's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
And even for those of you listening, you just start to have this inner dialogue with yourself. Start to just spend some quiet time with nature. Start to look within and to pray, to ask for guidance. Doors will open because we all have a deep ability to go into our genius. And then it's always good to have help. It's always good to have a guide or a teacher or a guide like you. We all need each other.
Yeah, we're better together.
We're better together. There you have it.
Yeah, I also think it's I guess, another practical tip that I would probably give somebody is find those moments where you were just in your element and you were crushing, and try to put yourself in those kind of moments so that you can feel that and then keep bottling that up and knowing, okay, what were the things that led to that? Who were the people that were around me? Because I also feel like if you have great champions around you, people who are really who want more for you, who believe in you, that's when you can soar. So when I see someone performing or even on Instagram and they are just they're flowing, everything they do is gold, right? Beyonce, she's gold. Right. Everything she does, forget gold, she's diamond.
Right.
It's because she's in her flow. She's in her energy. She knows that she's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you know you're awesome, the problem is with all of us, I'm realizing as I'm talking about it, is we doubt so much and we have so much negative speak. So if we can erase the negative speak and bring in some more positive speak,
Absolutely.
and that's where the affirmations come in, I think, and that's the whole point of them is start talking to yourself better, start thinking of yourself higher, because we all are better than what we think we are.
Absolutely. And just love yourself. Love yourself. It's really, I feel about the ability for us to love ourselves and to love ourselves no matter what, and know that we're not perfect and we're here to learn lessons and we're learning our lessons, But when you really get in touch with loving, you really fully love yourself, then you move into, oh wow, I'm all love. And that experience is the experience of I'm awesome.
Yeah, that's where your radiance comes from.
That's where your radiance comes from. When Beyonce's like, I know I'm awesome, she is in full love. She is in loving herself so deep that her full self is free to radiate, to be in radiance, to expound its everything, its creativity. And that's what we're here to do. Ultimately, that's our purpose.
Wow.
That's everybody's purpose.
What a great way to end the show. Yeah. That was great. Wow.
Thank you.
So before I let you go, we always ask everybody, what are you currently doing to get better, to improve, to live better? Is there something that you would share with us?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the thing I'm doing right now, which I'm very excited about, is I just hired a new CEO for my company, Tom Frasina, and he was one of the founders of Fantasy Sports, the video game, and he's an awesome businessman, and he is excellent. Like he's a star, and the fact that he wants to work with me, right? The mystic, the alternative person.
Uh-huh.
I made that choice. I prayed for someone like him. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. I need some, and he showed up, and it's exactly what I prayed for.
That's so great.
And so this just happened a week ago. So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving myself the gift of really calling in the people to support me and my work. And I haven't always been good at that because I'm a healer, I take care of everybody. But then at the end of the day, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm fading because nobody's taking care of me. And I had to go within and kind of relook at my own self-love and change everything. So that I'm in the middle. I'm being just completely transparent with you.
I love that. That's amazing. Thank you. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
That's so cool. Mm-hmm. I've been, one of my things that I say nightly, one of my nightly prayers is I ask for God to continue to flow abundance into my life, but with good people.
Yes.
And good partners. Yes. And of course, health and happiness and success and all of those things too. But once I started saying that, more and more good people started coming.
Absolutely.
And I'd be like, whoa, I'd meet someone and they'd come into my life. I'm like, oh, thanks, God. Cool. And then it just kept happening. So it does work when you ask.
Yes.
You receive.
Yes.
Deirdre, thank you so much.
Thank you.
As always. This is such a great conversation. I love it. All right, guys. What have we learned today? Other than wanting me at a sporting event. What?
That I've been telling you, Maria, we need to have you sideline interviewing athletes post game. I would have loved to see you at the U.S. Women's National, at the FIFA World Tournament.
I know. Congrats to the women.
Congrats to them. But number one thing I learned is something that I've been trying to work on, but this, I think, how we always say the conversations come at the perfect time for us.
Yeah.
Self-love.
Yes.
I never really understood it. I was like, oh yeah, I like myself, but I don't think I do to the extent that I should.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest takeaway for me.
I think self-love, even when we were doing our social posts with her, it was almost like a weird kick to the gut when she's like, every day, tell yourself you love yourself and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I love myself, because we're so conditioned to not be, conceited and all of that from the time we're little, and denying any of that, I guess. And so it's really hard, I think, for us to do that. So I was telling Kevin and some of our friends last night that something I've been doing and within my prayers that I've added recently is what I'm grateful for. So sometimes I used to wake up in the morning and I would talk about what I'm grateful for, but it's a different thing at the end of the day. So I've realized, last night, it's I'm so grateful that I got to have, these last few days with my friends by the pool. And I'm so grateful for the fact that I was able to get the bee stinger out of Winnie's paw. And I'm so grateful for the fact that my neighbors had fresh plums from their tree that they gave me.
Yum.
And they were delicious. And I'm so grateful for whatever it is, for Kevin building me a new studio. Whatever I'm grateful for, even down to the plums, I'm listing and I'm realizing at the end of the day, wow, that was a really great day.
Oh,
right?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's super powerful because it's really easy to forget how many awesome things happened that day, right? Because you might just focus on one negative thing, which is generally how things are, right? One negative thing can take over everything. So Kevin was like, whoa, actually, that's really cool. I'm going to start doing that. And he started doing it, and he was like, wow, I had a lot of things to be grateful for. And it was so cute because, you know, it's different for him. Like, he's not as on the path as we are. And so he's not going to, like, chew up all this stuff as much. And he really connected to that, and he really liked it. So I think that's my last tip of the day.
I really like that, actually, because I think it's good to have rituals, like what we talked about last week. And so in the morning, we were talking about setting intentions in the morning, and then I think ending the day with gratitude.
Yeah,
that's like a magic
gangster.
Yeah.
So now because of Deirdre, I will implement self-love kind of affirmations in the morning so that you can start your day like that. And tell myself I'm awesome. What? I mean, it's so much better than telling ourselves we're shit, which is sometimes how we may not phrase it necessarily like that, but
sometimes
there's a lot of negative speak. Steven, what did you learn today? Or not, whatever it is. I know this is probably far out for you.
Yeah, pretty far out for me as the skeptical person, but you know, I try to examine these things from a more perspective of something's working, right? Regardless of evidence, something's working. So with her, I can't really connect with a lot of what she's saying. I don't believe in the mysticism in terms of, you know, seeing auras or seeing archangels or pets having a human hand for some reason after they die, putting it on your shoulder. But what the value that I see really is that the power of perception and the power of what you set your mindset to believe in can affect everything around you in terms of whatever it takes to get you to that place. Where if it is believing in that moment that it's your pet talking to you from the afterlife, or believing in the moment that they are angels, whatever it is that you put your perception into to believe in, as long as it puts your mind in a place that makes you comfortable and makes you more confident throughout what you do and makes you more confident in the decisions you make. And if they communicate that to you, Maria, in terms of, this is something I see around you, this is an aura I see around you, regardless of evidence or anything, if it makes you feel more confident, more comfortable in the decisions you're making, then that has a value to it. And I think that regardless of my skepticism or evidence, you're very successful. And hearing that from somebody, even if I don't believe in it, it's not my belief that matters in those moments. It's who ascribes the value to it and what they take from it.
Damn. I like that, Steven.
Me too. That was a healthy skepticism.
Yeah. So you don't think I helped Tom Brady win the Super Bowl? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I'd love to give you an award for it, but I don't know. I think
the biggest super fan ever.
I think Tom Brady really won that Super Bowl. But I feel
Totes.
like without people like you, what's the point of doing it?
Well, this is my idea, right? If we were at that Super Bowl and no Patriots fans were there, and it was only Falcons fans, don't you think the energy would shift towards the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean,
it's energy.
It is energy,
Yeah.
and you know the interesting thing that, you know, as much as quantum physics is taken out of context a lot of the times, you know, just as matter can change based on visualization of it, people can change based on visualization of them. So regardless of people staring at Tom Brady and just wishing he would lose, or staring at Tom Brady and wishing he would win, there's no scientific process to say he would do one or the other based on their vision of him. But you can believe either way. And if he believes that people looking at him wearing Patriots uniforms makes him better, then he will actively become better from that belief in himself that because of these people are there. It's a self-reaffirming process.
Well, it's no different than when you go to a basketball game. They have music specifically for their team that gets them energized and in the right space, right? If you had no music, you wouldn't be as amped up, which means it's all energy. It really is.
Totally.
It's all energy. So you want the good energy, you put the music on. Like, what do you do to get good energy, Steven?
I mean,
I don't want to know, actually.
yeah, you don't want to know. Well,
I'm
I
kidding.
think music's a little different because music's something tangible. Because you can look at sound waves and you can say sound waves enter somebody's mind, and depending on the frequency of the sound waves, whether they're slow or fast, an upbeat energy has been proven to increase your heart rate. Lower energy has been proven to calm you down and calm your nerves. Energy through silent perception isn't something tangible that we can test against. But, it's the belief, like Maria, if I told you there's 1 million people right now who believe in you, that's going to make you push harder. Mm-hmm. Because
Totally.
you want to live up to those expectations.
Yep.
As opposed to me saying there's 1 million people who hate you.
Yeah.
And it's all a perception in your mind that subconsciously pushes you to either go harder or to give up.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily need somebody playing music in your ear. You don't necessarily need somebody telling you that you're amazing. As long as you know that they exist and they think that, then you have that constant subconscious push.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture because
Yeah.
when you see like the U.S. women's national team, like this is what they're known for. And kind of when we talk to Trevor Moad about what he teaches his clients, it's the ability to pull out of any situation to get the win. So whether it was like the fourth quarter you're down, or for the women's soccer team like a scoreless game where they're down, like they never, and they've said this, the team captain Megan Rapinoe has said, there's never a situation where we think we're losing.
Yep.
No matter where we are not losing. And if you train yourself to have that sort of mindset, and whether it
won't
be
lose.
like getting music to
And
get in
that's
that
energy.
Yes, it's energy, baby.
And by the way, we'd have to get Joe Dispenza back on the show to really explain to us the testing that he's done behind all of this to prove it. So I think a lot of it is provable at this point to a degree. But anyhow.
To a degree.
Oh, Steven.
Hey, I gotta represent.
Oh my freaking
his
God.
team, he has to represent his
With his power to ruin the energy in the room, Stephen Lemieux. That's why I'm in a separate room. I can't be interacting with you guys.
No, I can't see
But
your
I'm
face.
I'm
Both in
affecting you
white.
by seeing you on camera.
And we're affecting you. Yes. Anyhow, thank you guys again for joining us on Better Together. Please help us by rating, commenting, subscribing on Apple Podcasts, and of course on Spotify. Steven, I don't know where we're at on comments.
Let me tell you, we
but
got a
so
bunch.
I think we might have reached the 500 goal, perhaps.
So Jeff rated it today, which should put us to the 500. But
Oh,
this
you
morning,
cheated!
well, we had to.
He listens. He
All right,
listens
but
every
it's
week.
still-
so
Jeff
we-
Graham, does he really listen?
He
Yes.
does listen.
Okay,
yes.
good.
But
Jeff
it
Graham
still
works
hasn't
for us, by
registered.
the way. I don't like cheating, just FYI.
It's not cheating. So this is the thing. Jeff Graham listens every week. We talk about like some of the guests that he finds his favorite. So I said, you've rated already. I mean, you've reviewed already, right? Because I love Jeff's opinion.
Yeah.
So when he tells me something, he likes something, I take it for what it is.
Okay.
And then he's like, no. And I'm like, what?
Oh my God, guys.
Review.
I love it. So,
We're at $4.99.
oh my God, we're still one shy.
I know. The fans really came through, though. We
They
got
did.
We got 12 reviews in the last week,
They
which is
did.
awesome.
Thank you, guys.
I also want to ask you, because you just said the word cheating. And if we get to the point where quantum physics and intention-based results are proven, will it be considered cheating if an athlete pays 10,000 people to reaffirm them in their mind? If he has 10,000 people who are out there just saying, he's going to win, he's going to win.
Yeah, that's not real energy. That's paid energy. That's shit.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to know if that was performance boosting energy.
No, total left turn. Read some good comments.
All right, so we have Lisa Rhode Island who says, I don't know how I found you, but 5 stars. I'm a firm believer in life giving you the things you need in every single moment. When I came across your podcast a few months ago, I knew immediately that I needed more Maria Menounos in my life. Your story's wonderful. Your guests are incredible. The way you communicate is heartwarming, authentic, and is always bringing little nuggets of hope and inspiration to my week. I'm constantly referring to your podcast with Steph and Steven to my coworkers. I find myself getting into my car Monday afternoons looking forward to hearing what you guys have to offer to the world of the week.
Wow.
Truly love what you have going on. The world needs more Better Together. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
I'm going to save this next one for last because I think you're going to really connect with it. Love It by Ryan Nilsson says 5 stars. Better Together is a refreshing, poignant podcast that I listen to on the reg. Maria's discussion on mental and physical health is so informative. I feel like I'm in my favorite class at school. I love the show and will forever listen.
Aww.
John Heggie says amazing, helpful information. Your podcast was never on my radar, and I must have clicked it accidentally, but I was hooked from that first show on. I really enjoyed the format and input from Steph and Steven. Amazing, helpful information. I also look forward to Maria's laughs each week.
Same.
Uplifting 5 stars from I Love Mike. I like how her topics are uplifting. She's full of positive energy. And then I'll say I saved this one for last. Look forward to this every week. 5 stars by Rachel M. Hawk. I love that you publish on Mondays. It actually makes me look forward to Monday. I have never missed an episode since my friend told me about Maria's show a few years ago. In 2017, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, a meningioma, and had surgery in late June of 2017. Maria's show at the time was on SiriusXM, was absolutely life-changing for me. To hear from her as she was going through what I was also going through during a truly terrifying time was incredibly powerful. The guests she brought on then and to this day, and Maria herself, have taught me so much. To this day, I'm so grateful to hear from her and all her amazing guests, as I learn something new with every podcast. Sometimes I listen to the same episode more than once to capture every detail. I've also read many of the books from the podcast. With this brain tumor journey, I've met some friends along the way who unfortunately have to deal with similar diagnoses. I like to share with them how the show and podcast have helped me so much. Maria has such amazing insight and such amazing guests. I love the podcast format so she can spend as much time as needed with her interviews. I'm a fan for life. Lots of love, Rachel Hawk.
Aw, Rachel, thank you. That's so cool. I love that she was able to go through this kind of with me.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I'm so thankful for all the comments. I was sitting here thinking, as I was hearing these great comments, it's so cool to work for myself now and not have a network executive tell me I suck and that, my interviews or whatever they might say. I mean, it's not like I got really bad feedback. I mean, I did really well in life, but there were a lot of moments where you're like, what? What? And those were usually by people who weren't technically supposed to be in those positions. But anyhow, that's just a little digressing.
Well, yeah, and it's cool that you get to pick what you want to talk about and we're all learning together, which is the entire point of it. And I love that so many of these are talking about how they get the books or like apply the lessons learned, because that's literally exactly what it's here for.
Exactly. That's the whole point of being better together. I will say I love also hearing that everyone's sharing it with other people. So if you love an episode, share it with friends, share it on social. Help us get as many people here as possible so they can hear these great messages. We have so many great people that come on this show that, it's hard to access these people. And we're curating them. I'm not curating them. We're curating them, Scam, because you're doing such a great job too with it. We're picking the best of the best.
Yeah.
And so we want to be able to help everybody. And yeah.
We want to know what you guys think, because the more I hear these comments, the more I'm just like, wow, this is really great to be a part of.
It's energizing, isn't it?
You feel that?
You feel the energy, Steven.
I feel it.
I do too. I feel it too. And it gets exciting for me as well. So
we're not going to shoot for 500 by next week. We're going to shoot for 600 by next week. Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Heck
You
yeah.
can do it. I want to end actually with some podcast episode recommendations from you guys. So let's give everyone listening one or two of your favorite podcasts that maybe they missed that they should go back and listen to.
Okay, for sure, Susie Batiste.
Oh my God, yes.
That happened in March. So
And be prepared. In the opening, Steph and I talk about shit a lot, but it's for a reason.
Yes.
Because I hope we didn't turn people off with the opening. I hope we explained it well enough.
It was literal shit, metaphorical shit, and all the types of good shit possible. So please don't be turned off.
Listen through the shit to get to the good shit.
That was March 18th episode, guys. It's
Yes.
called Turning Bad Shit to Good Shit and the Secret to Success with Susie Batiste.
Yes.
That's my favorite, top 3. Trevor Moad, I love. That came April 8th, I believe. And
Yep.
yes, those are my top 2 right now.
Oh,
Trevor's
many.
definitely in my top 3. I think, honestly, I can never get enough Kevin Undergaro episodes.
Oh,
So
this is true. People love
This
Kevin.
is true.
Align Your Goals in 2019 with Kevin Undergaro from December. That was a really good one. And then also, I have to say that I really liked the Sophia Amoruso one. There was a lot of
Yes.
really, really solid business stuff. And then you can't go wrong with AJ Gupta when he came in. He was really
Ooh,
informative.
I love all the different people. I'm going to go with Judith Orloff.
Oh yeah.
The empath episode, which was just recently.
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago.
Because that was just mind-blowing for me. And Kelly Casso.
Oh, that was just last week.
Loved Kelly. And I loved all your episodes, of course. And Joe Dispenza. Duh. Joe Dispenza was amazing. Stephen, when was Joe Dispenza?
Joe Dispenza was
April
29th, 2019. And that's like a 2-hour episode. It's like a full-on deep dive.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. All right, well, there you have it. If you haven't listened to those, check those out. But I like to think we haven't given you a bad episode, so I hope we've given you only unbelievable episodes. So pick any and you'll be good. But I think that was a good place to start. So if you want to learn more about Deirdre Hade and her work, her workshops, her books, you can go to deirdrehade.com. That will be in the summary of this episode. And also follow us in the meantime at Maria Menounos, at Deirdre.Hade, at Steph Sabra, at Stephen Lemieux Photo. And remember, be nice, people. Make good choices and be present.